Robyn Allan. She can count. She has counted as a business person. In fact, the astonishing thing about Robyn Allan is that she was at one time the CEO of a $3.4 billion corporation, the Insurance Corporation of British Columbia. She sits on the board of a major investment firm. She has a consulting practice on the side. But she also counts because she's a dancer, and that's really what caught my eye. At the age of 45, she blew off all that business stuff. She decided, as Robert has, that there are some things that money can't and shouldn't buy. And she's here to tell us about it. Robyn?
Well, thank you very much, Moses and Jennifer. And to make sure that I wasn't prepared, I wrote about 4 speeches, each about 3 hours long, and got rid of all the things that I don't want to say, so that hopefully what I will say in 15 minutes, which now I've cleared the space, is unprepared and spontaneous and will still be beneficial to all of you and not just to me. It's a great pleasure to be here. And I want to talk about the idea of fulfillment. The idea that so many of us get these visions at about 14 or 15. We get these brief glimpses that the world can be a place where all of our hopes and wishes can be fulfilled, that we become a statement of personal expression and fulfillment, and that it's on all levels, that it's on the level of intellect and emotion and spirit and physicality and our sensual self. And that in fact, because we live in this incredible country with such a support structure and an opportunity that even though it's systematically getting dismantled over the last 20 years, when I was 15, it was there and it was like anything was possible. I never thought twice about being a girl. It was possible for my brothers, and it was possible for me. And so what I want to talk about is that idea of going back to those incredible moments where you could sit on your roof and watch a sunset and it hits. I'm sure we all remember when we saw these pictures and then they're gone. And it's like incredible insight, and then spending the rest of our lives recapturing that dream. So I was about 16 and I said, okay, I woke up one morning, actually about 2 in the morning, and wrote down this statement: war over millions out of work. And it dawned on me that in our economic system, so often it is so harsh and is so much a struggle that it squeezes out our sense of joy and wonderment and non-judgmental self, our spirits. That there's got to be a way to have an economic system that in fact allows people to prosper and feel good about themselves while they're doing it. So I decided that what I needed to understand was wealth and power, and that would give the leverage to be able to go out and create this incredible world that I could then express myself artistically, because it seemed a lot safer to go into business than into the arts. And so I did that. I went into economics. I became a businesswoman. I had the incredible opportunity of taking a ICBC that was losing $200 million a year and turn it into $150 million surplus in 10 months in a time when downsizing and layoffs were said to be the only way to do it. And I made a stand that it would be done without the brutality of downsizing and layoffs, because in fact, when people perform well, they usually feel safe. And everyone wants to make sure they can feed their kids at night. So you have to create the safety in the workplace so people can do great work. And we did it. And I had all these dreams about business and economics and government policy and how to create a social cultural fabric that would allow us to prosper. And so, by the time I was in my mid-30s, I felt that I had answered those questions for myself. I wrote a book, Quest for Prosperity, The Dance of Success, because it is a dance between individuals and their culture. And you know, when we learn the steps together and work them together, of course, everything works more smoothly. But I felt that at that age, okay, I had really laid the foundation of that understanding. And so, you know, I asked the next serious question, what's missing? Because there was this nagging feeling. I had danced as a teenager, and I loved Fosse's work, and Cheetah Rivera was my hero, and Gwen Verdon, and I had worked in the theater community as a teenager, and I remembered that I had kind of lost that part of the picture. And so when I felt comfortable that I'd answered those questions for myself, I had to tell myself the truth about, I want to dance. I want to be a dancer. And so you can imagine, being a woman in business didn't seem like that big a deal, but being a dancer in my mid-30s, now that was a tough one, because the mythology is, you got to start when you're 8, and you've got to be finished by the time you're 26. Only a few of the dance artists are able to continue to use their instrument beyond that. And here I was saying, I've got to dance. And so what I discovered over the next 15 years was that it was possible, that in fact everything that I had been learning and discovering and experiencing, even the tough stuff and the painful stuff, was all really, really helpful to create myself as a dancer at that age. Now, the other thing is, at that age, you're not going to get many jobs dancing, and I needed to perform. It wasn't just about dance class. I tried it. It wasn't just about certain ways of meeting that physical desire. And so I decided that if I was going to dance professionally on stage, I also had to become a choreographer and a producer. And lo and behold, over the last number of years, all of those pieces have come together in extraordinary, unbelievable ways. And I now have a dance company called Vancouver Dance Theatre. It's 8 dancers. I didn't want to be a solo artist. It might have been easier, but I wanted to have a group of people and create an environment where we rehearse and we work in a spirit, in an environment of safety, so that we can take physical risks, we can take creative risks, we can take artistic risks. And because I've created this model, my consulting firm became a necessity, because I needed to have the independence to go off to dance class. In fact, I even wrote in my own job description that it was good for my company if I took class. And so we have this company of 8 dancers who last year became the resident dance company of the Vogue Theatre. We are supported by corporate sponsorship. At this point, it's CYF Consulting. And do not partake of government funding, because I want to look at the possibility of creating a company that has artistic expression in the dance world that perhaps has a greater struggle because it will ensure the discipline of connecting with audiences. Ensure it. It's not that other companies don't have that, but you absolutely have to be in this dance between the artist and its audience if the challenges around this part of the business structure are there. So what I wanted to show you was, first of all, one of the pieces that I did create, and I've worked with a number of choreographers as well because of my business experience and background and the producing. I usually, when I wasn't that good at dancing but still needed to perform, what I would do is hire a lot of really good dancers, and I could be in the back. But then working with them created the opportunity to absorb their skills and ability and to get that experience and exposure that I didn't have. So the show we did was a 2-hour show at the Vogue Theatre. When I say resident dance company, it means that the Vogue Theatre in Vancouver, which is a 1,000-seat theatre, which is unusual for small dance companies, is that they're co-producing our performances to assist us in getting on the stage on a more regular basis. The piece is called If Caterpillars Had Wings. It's now a 48-minute piece that explores the question of our own evolution, and although we may be all going for our wings, there has to be a tremendous metamorphosis and a period of risk-taking and entering the void, because attaching wings on a caterpillar isn't very functional. At the same time, the wings are part of the caterpillar right from the start. So this piece is short, like 3 minutes. clips from If Caterpillars Had Wings. And I am dancing with my company. I do have a company so that I can dance. I'm a dancer first and a choreographer and producer second in my artistic life. And I'm really happy to say that it's my son that did the videography. He edited it, and he's off to Vancouver Film School in September to go into new media. So if we could just roll the tape, please. So I think in just closing off, the idea that I'm continuing to explore is how do we go after our dreams and work towards an absence of trade-offs? That during parts of our creation of the life we're designing, the architecture of our life, that through that creation sometimes we need to put on hold certain parts of the dream. And it can feel and look like a trade-off. But that if we watch for the openings going forward and revisit those dreams and decide whether or not they're still real, was it just an ego thing, or was it in fact part of my creative spirit needing to express itself? And if the answer is yes, it is part of that, then finding the way to go to the and. I can be a business person and love that work and love economics and enjoy what I do in the business world, and when everything seems to be pointing in the opposite direction in terms of age and skill and ability and talent, and have an artistic life. And that in fact, once acknowledging that there is the possibility for connection, that they're not these dots that don't have those lines, that make a nice little picture, that at some point all the dots will get connected, that our desires are like the dots in the picture, and that by pursuing the dream, we will connect those dots and eventually discover how, in fact, it's all related, and what used to look like totally disparate dreams or desires are, in fact, very much dancing partners. And so it's not a trade-off, it's not an either-or, it can be an and that the need for us to say many of the things we understand can be said in words, it can be said in business ventures, it can be said in writing, it can be said other ways, visually, but that the physical form of our expression without words as a species stands the risk of being lost in this technology age, stands being lost in our sedentary lifestyle, and that the physical expression of visceral ideas comes way before the word. And that if we can also honor that, and I know, in fact, as a dancer and as a choreographer, that's where my voice is coming from now, to add to all the ways that we can express ourselves as alive and excited and fulfilled human beings. Thank you very much.